Good morning and welcome to JChats with Bender JCC CEO Josh Bender. Josh's guests today are Lauren Dworkin, Director of Family Engagement and Parenting Center, and Marcie Blackman, Arts and Adults Program Coordinator.
Good morning, Bender JCC. Welcome back to JChats. I'm Josh Bender, the CEO of the Bender JCC, and it's so good to be back together with our JChats community today. We have two special guests joining us who are on our Bender JCC team. We have Lauren Dworkin, who's the Director of Family Engagement and our Parenting Center, and Marcie Blackman, our Program Coordinator in Arts and Adults Programming. Good morning, both of you. Thanks for joining.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Good morning.
You know, one of the things that do on JChats over the last few months since we started is to highlight some of our staff members and the amazing work that they're doing, particularly through this difficult year in the pandemic. And one of the things that's really interesting to watch and to see is how our staff through the pandemic, because of the challenges and our need to be flexible and to pivot, our staff have really taken on new roles, responsibilities, and wear multiple hats, really always, but particularly, certainly true of Lauren and Marcie, who really have stepped up in so many different ways to serve the Bender JCC community. Let's start this morning. Why don't you guys introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about what you do and the various hats you wear. Lauren, why don't you start us off?
Sure. So I've been the Director of the Parenting Center since November of 2012, which was shortly after I moved here from California with my 2-year-old son. And before I took on that role, I was actually a participant in the Parenting Center. I moved here, I didn't know anybody. Even though I'm from this area, I now had a baby and had been gone for a very long time. And so I came and I participated in the Parenting Center programs. And a couple months later, they were looking for a director and I hopped right in, and it was sort of just a great time to meet people. The Parenting Center opened that door for me personally, and then of course professionally. And since then, I've taken on the family engagement team, which serves sort of the general families with young children population in the area. And more recently sort of taken on some of these social action programs, particularly post-COVID, when the need is so great and families are looking for opportunities to give back. And so it's sort of the evolution of sort of my time here and the communities that I serve and that we serve collectively. And yeah.
Excellent, excellent. And I look forward in a few moments, we're going to dig in a little bit deeper into that social action piece that has been so important this year. Marcie, tell us a little bit about your journey to Bender JCC and
Thank you, Josh. I'm Marcie Blackman, and I came to the JCC in the end of October 2019. So I was in the building doing my work maybe 5 months before COVID hit. So I had a little bit of an opportunity to do some of my programming. I do arts and adults programming here at the JCC, but many other things, which I really enjoy. And it's all about outreach. I'm really enjoying it. Even during the pandemic, I'm getting to do all the things that I love. We're doing lots of virtual programming, and I'm getting to be involved with Lauren with this social action, which I'm really excited about and can't wait to continue with our current program and do more for our community.
And you guys can't see this wherever you're watching us from, but that door right behind Marcie is right here. So we're very close to each other right now, which is always fun to be in the office and get to see people. So.
Absolutely. And you guys, you know, you're partners in crime on a lot of projects and programs. You know, so one of the things that I wanted to spend time on today and to share with our JChats audience is a little bit about the social action work that we've been doing. Obviously, social action is something that isn't new to the JCC. The Bender JCC has been doing social action for years. Our mission statement makes it very clear that our role is to serve the Jewish community, the broader community, and in any way that we can. Through the pandemic this year, Of course, the needs in the community have become even more clear. I think there is, it's not that the needs in our community are new necessarily. They've been accentuated certainly by the pandemic and maybe brought to light in a lot of different ways. So let's spend a couple minutes talking about the social action work, why this year the Bender JCC became so involved, and why we're beginning to talk about next steps and what is the next level of social action at the Bender JCC. And there's a lot of excitement and enthusiasm around expanding this important work that we're doing.
I'll start. You know, social action is sort of like the social awareness of what's happening, the problems that are happening within our community and how we can collectively solve them. And, you know, at the JCC, I think sometimes even pre-pandemic, and then I'll talk about post, but the things that make us different is that we are encompassing more than just the things that you sort of see on the outside. So what I mean by that is we have a gym, but this place is more than just a gym. We have soccer programs for kids. It's so much more than just that. And some of the things that are sort of highlighted when I say that is like, you can bring your kid to a soccer class here, a gymnastics class here, but on your way out of the building, you might have an opportunity to participate in a service project that we happen to be doing in the lobby, or maybe you can light Hanukkah candles before you head to the car. And I think that blending and adding those pieces of our values into those experiences that people are already participating in is a huge aspect to what we do here, and really important to the community at large, and important to the members and folks that come and register for our programs. I think that sometimes that's maybe why they choose us perhaps over someone else. Not just our exemplary programs, but the opportunity to participate in more than just the soccer class or the swim class.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think, you know, what's interesting to think about is when we talk about JCC, we talk about the Jewish piece, and how do those Jewish values sort of permeate the community and everything we do, whether it's the soccer program or the social action program or the program for seniors in the building, or our nutrition program, and so on and so forth. And this year, I know we started doing these, we started doing a Red Cross, partnered with the Red Cross. We did a blood drive. We're on a list to be a vaccination site. When the state is ready to roll that out, we're hoping that we can provide that to the community. So that community piece, you know, I think we're doing a lot of thinking about what that really means. Marcie, what are your thoughts? I mean, you've jumped into this social action piece like so enthusiastically. What motivates you? What are your thoughts around this important work?
Well, I always am willing to jump in and volunteer for whatever, but I felt especially during this time that it was most needed. And with, you know, our building being very limited in terms of who can come in and do what, trying to make what, like Lauren was saying, that connection with our community and doing whatever we can to make our members or people that just want to find out about the JCC feel included. And I have to say, I'm listed on the website as the volunteer coordinator. And I guess over the last month or two, I've gotten more calls than pre-pandemic. I think, again, people just want to help, and they're slowly willing to come into the building. And again, if they're here, then we see like, okay, they're coming here to do our Delivering Good program, which we'll talk about. But also, hey, they have a gym. Let me try that out. And that seems good. And oh, I didn't know their nursery school was open. So again, it's community and doing what we can, I guess, to make people feel better and included, the inclusivity on all levels. I work a lot with seniors, the programming I do, and they're very lonely and they're looking for things, and we're providing that. Even outside the building, we're trying to do that. So
absolutely, yeah. And I think there's been this year through the pandemic, you know, there's been just like people feel the need to do good, and it helps obviously address important needs in the broader community, but it also helps people individually and how they feel during what has been a really difficult year. Let's talk about Delivering Good. Marcie, you mentioned Delivering Good is a new project We're partnering with Montgomery County Schools and Montgomery County Food Council to address, food insecurity throughout the region. And it's something that I know we're really excited to participate in. Let's give a little bit of an overview of that program, what needs we're hitting on, and how that partnership formed.
Well, Mars, no, I'll start.
You can or you can.
Oh, okay.
It's a we.
It is a way. So Marcie and I, a couple months ago, were on a call. I can't remember if it was JCRC or what it was, but there was a speaker there from the Montgomery County Food Council, and they were talking all about the different needs of the students, in particular in the school system, and that without the schools being open, the challenges that the schools had with getting the food that folks rely on from the farms program, the free and reduced meals program, how they were going to get these meals to these kids. And so the county, of course, bonded together, and they figured out a way for folks who were experiencing food insecurity or whom previously relied always on the school to provide meals for their families, that the schools would open up and they could have a drive-through line and people could pop their trunks and safely contactless get the food that they needed. But there was when Marcie and I reached out to the Food Council to say, like, we'd like to help, but we don't know how. And one of the things that the representative had told us was that there's a lot of families that are not just food insecure, they're transportation insecure as well. And so maybe that means that they aren't available during the hours that those lines are open, or they don't have reliable transportation, they don't have access to a car or bus, etc. Or maybe they're sick and they can't leave. They're sick with COVID, they're sick with something else, and they can't leave their homes. And so they can't get to these hubs that the county has set up to distribute this food. And so they're not just food insecure, they're transportation insecure as well. And so this program partners with the county, who gives us the food. We then lend our resources of space and volunteers to repackage this food. And then the Montgomery County bus system pulls through and we load it onto the buses, and it's essentially door dashed directly to people's homes. And so it fit this need that the county had. It was a value add for everyone. It gave us the opportunity to provide a volunteer experience, a meaningful volunteer experience to our members and the community at large. And it filled this need that the county had of getting food to people that they knew desperately needed it, but couldn't get to it any other way.
It's amazing. And I still remember the first day a few weeks ago that we did the project for the first time, and like all of these buses start pulling up in front of the JCC. You're expecting, children to come out, out of a school bus. But, the bus drivers came out and jumped in and began to load the buses with the food that would be distributed. And Marcie, talk a little bit about that process, that first day, and working with the volunteers and the bus drivers. You were sort of managing a lot of the programmatic end of it and sort of the coordination of it.
So I have to say, all along, Lauren and I were kind of like, we don't know what this is going to look like. We're going to have all of these buses. We're going to have all these bags of food. And is it all going to work? And that's kind of, with programming in my title, that's what I do. So at first, we opened up different windows of time to volunteer with the hopes that we get a lot of volunteers. We got some. It took a little longer to assemble our bags than we had hoped, but we did it and we made it happen. And I want to just tack on to what Lauren was saying, and then I'll get to the programmatic piece. The excitement of, we had a big meeting with the director of transportation from Montgomery County Schools, the person who's in charge of all of the bus drivers, that it was a truly group effort, and the excitement of all of them. It wasn't just us talking to the person who was organizing the food order that was going to come here. I think, Lauren, do you feel the same? I mean, it was amazing, and it made us feel so good that we had finally found something that clicked for us and was so meaningful. So in terms of organizing, we had buses, and we knew how many buses we had. We knew how many bags were going to go onto each bus. And we had our social hall, which is where we assembled all the bags, filled with bags of produce and dry goods. And the bus drivers came in. It was a very smooth process. They loaded them on their buses. They had their route and it was delivered. And Lauren and I have said a couple of times, we only hope that we could see the looks on the families' faces, you know, a video or something of the excitement. We did get a little feedback from one of the drivers that they just were so touched and in tears. So it went smoothly. And each, you know, that was the first time. And the second time we made a little tweaks in the system. And it's, you know, we're getting ready to go on our third round next week of our delivering good. And it's so exciting.
What's really cool about the ongoing nature of this program, like Marcie mentioned, is that second time around when the bus drivers came to pick up the food to load into the buses again, this one bus driver came to us and she said, "Oh my God, the little girl, I could hear her screaming from the inside. The food is here, the food is here." And so like, of course that made Marcie and I just like, oh, thank God this is like, it's working and it's getting to the people that really need it. And it's like this domino reaction of feel goodness, you know, like the volunteers who are coming, they know where it's going. They feel good about doing it. Marcie and I feel good about organizing it. The bus drivers feel good about delivering it. And then of course, like the pinnacle is that the kids who are getting it, like are so glad that it came. And it's just this incredible connection between all of these people who don't know each other. And I think, that's really like the true essence of helping your neighbor.
Unbelievable. And
Josh, I'm sorry. I just wanted to say one thing, Lauren. In addition to our volunteers, we have had the preschool come in for a short period of time, and the excitement on their faces, just dropping, you know, the vegetables into the bags and knowing, you know, and explaining to them, you know, why we're doing this, and you know, them looking at us with these, you know, bright, sparkly eyes and excited and appreciating that they already have all this food on their tables and that they're going to help someone else. That was, for me, Lauren, that was amazing to watch those kids. I know you work with the kids all the time, but it was really, truly special. And
for their parents to know that during that day, their kids had an opportunity to do something for other people is a huge, huge benefit for everyone. I know parents are always trying to instill those values in their kids, and to be able to send those kids home with something like that to say to their kids, "What did you do today?" "Oh, I heard you packed vegetables," and for families that need them. And it's just really, really special opportunity to be able to give our ECC families. And we encourage people who aren't in the ECC, if you have little kids, to come and bring your little kids, because you too can pack vegetables and help other people. If you can count, you can help us pack. So
and just the way you guys are describing it, the collaboration on so many different fronts and the involvement of so many different groups of people for this project is pretty spectacular. I understand that we're in our last delivery, we served 120 families. Is that right?
I think it was actually closer to 130, right, Mars?
Yes.
Yeah, it ended up being about 130.
Unbelievable. That's just absolutely incredible. I mean, 130 families.
And they actually, Josh, want us to do more, but Lauren and I'm always saying yes, and we kind of have to, you know, step back and say, okay, manage expectations here. Let's just do this for now and we'll see. And they wanted us to do it every week, but we're fine with this setup.
That's a great moment, Marcie, for me to say to anyone who's going to be watching our JChats today, that if you want to get involved and help expand this amazing work, please reach out to us, because we need good people to help us.
We do. And I want to pop in really quickly about the families that we're serving. So some of these households that we're bringing food to, there could be 3 or 4 families living in one household. So, and we know that when we're packing the bags, that sometimes it might be going to a family of 3, 4, 5, but sometimes it might be going to a household of 12 or 15 people. And they're only getting a bag per child that's in the school. So it's sobering to pack the bags, because as incredible as it is that the county is providing the food for us to be able to pack these bags with, Marcie and I have to sit there and divide by 130 all of the things that have come in. And we know, and if you volunteered with us, you know that one time you only gave 3 granola bars in a bag.
And 1 sweet potato.
Yeah, and 1 sweet potato. And so it's as amazing as it feels to be able to give that, it takes your breath away for a minute to think about, when I think about how much food I buy in a week for my family, and I think about what we're giving to these folks, I can only hope that maybe they're getting assistance in other places as well, because
right. This is, just a small, of support that we're giving these families, but obviously the need is great, and that food goes extremely fast. Lauren, that's a great segue to, I know you and I had talked about understanding a little bit more the data in terms of what food insecurity looks like in Montgomery County, and families who are affected and children who are part of Montgomery County schools. Would you share some of that information with us?
Yeah. So nationwide, actually, it's 29 million adults and 12 million kids who are struggling to afford food in their homes. And in Maryland alone, there's a 40% increased demand from food assistance providers. So MANA, the Food Council, things like that. Montgomery County already had 34% of its students on free and reduced meals. That's like 55,000 kids. And there's no way for them to tell at this present moment, because we're still like in the midst of the pandemic, but the projection is that the food insecurity rate in Montgomery County went from 8% to a projected 13%. And it's like 80,000 residents and 30,000 kids. And this is one of the wealthiest counties in the country. And it's staggering. Folks who were getting by and were fine have fallen into this category. Folks who were already in this category have fallen deeper into this category. And you can see that on the news, both locally and nationwide. I mean, I can remember at the beginning of the pandemic, the lines that the helicopters were showing of people lined up for food boxes in Texas and California, probably here in Maryland, were miles and miles long. And these are, food is at the basic foundation of need: food, water, shelter. This is the bottom, of which all other things are built upon. And it's the numbers are staggering.
Absolutely. And, the fact that the Bender JCC can contribute even in a small way, and who knows what this project can turn into. And one of the things I wanted to talk to you about, I know I think we're learning a lot through this project, right? We're learning about, obviously, a greater understanding of food insecurity in the county, an understanding of the power of collaboration, right? When various organizations come together to address a challenge, we can do it much more effectively when we build partnerships around this. And I guess the question is, like, what if we think, like, looking forward, what does sort of the next step look like as we move down this path? Is it expanding how many families we can possibly serve in this program, getting more people involved, if in fact we're going to continue addressing this really important need in our community?
I'll just jump in without having spoken to Lauren. I mean, I don't think that this food insecurity and this need is going to end anytime soon. I think it's I personally don't, and I would love to be able to continue this. I think that it's very important, and if the county can provide the resources, as in food and the transportation that they are, then I think it's worth it. I mean, who knows what the summer is going to look like with anything, and with what vaccines, all of that stuff. So I think it's important, and I don't know, we're trying to advertise for volunteers as much as we can. So that's a big piece. If we can get people, and hopefully through this JChat, we will be able to get some people. And and advertise it more. We Hillel is bringing I think 10 kids or 12 kids, college students next week to volunteer because they have a social action piece that they're looking to fill. So the more we can reach out, I mean, I'm willing to continue it as long as we can.
Yeah, I think the as we can piece, I think is a huge piece to what happens in the future, because one of the ways that we're able to provide the blood drive service and this delivering good service is because our center isn't so full. We have the space, we have the capacity to be able to take on projects like this in our social hall and in our gallery, and using the refrigerator to store the vegetables. But there will come a time where, God willing, we won't have that space because we'll be running lots of programs and we'll be having lots of people coming through the building, and we may not be able to run delivering good in the way that we're presently running it. So we either sort of pivot, shift gears, and try to figure out a way to offer the program in a different way. Oh, and additionally, the buses are going to start to take kids to school. So right. There's going to either have to be a change to delivering good, or maybe at some point over the summer, like the program, the needs of the program, we don't need to do it anymore. I mean, hopefully. But it leaves the door open for an opportunity to expand on the concept of social action. And Josh and I have talked, and Marcie have talked about creating a center for social action. The JCC should be a place where serving and helping the community is at the core. It's in our DNA, we know that already, but it should be at the core of the things that we offer here at the center, in addition to the gym and the preschool and the camp and all the other amazing senior programs that go on here. The ability to give back to other people, we should be able to provide and create those opportunities for people. I think if the pandemic has taught us anything, it's that when we're fortunate, there are, we know that our neighbors perhaps are not. And so people, like Marcie mentioned, are looking to do something about that. And food insecurity is a huge piece, but there are many other needs in the community. And there's a lot of places that require mitzvah projects or SSL hours or, different things like that. And we want to be able to be a place where people can turn to and say, I need and want to give back to my community. What can I do? And so a center for social action, a center for social responsibility, a place where people can come and not just deliver good like we've been doing, but do good in general. And a Center for Social Action had ongoing service projects, ongoing opportunities for people to participate in that. There's no greater kindness than loaning your strength. And so if we can be, we have a lot of resources, that's our strength. We have manpower with our members and our participants and our families, and we have space, and we have hopefully with maybe a little funding, we could actually get something up and running where we could dedicate staff to create those opportunities to be able to provide to not just our members, but the community at large.
Excellent, excellent. Well, we're coming up on our about a half hour. This is really a great conversation, and I really want to thank both of you. We're having a conversation with Lauren Dworkin and Marcie Blackman, two members of our team who have really pivoted in many ways through the pandemic and have been central to our social action efforts and kicking off Delivering Good. It's been great. Thanks for joining me today.
Don't forget, benderjccgw.org/delivering. We have lots of volunteer opportunities for March and April, so we hope you'll join us.
Absolutely. We need lots of help with this project and many more to come.
Yes, and stay tuned for more information about Good Deeds Week, which is going to be April 11th through 18th. It used to be Good Deeds Day, but it's extended to a week, and that's another opportunity to do good for the community and help out. So more to come on that.
Thank you both again for your time, your dedication, all the work that you're doing in the community this year.
Thank you.
Thank you, Josh.
All right, we'll bring you back again soon to get an update on all the things.
Can't wait.
All right,
Bye-bye.
have a great day. Okay,
Bye-bye.
thank you. Okay.